What's up, you guys? I'm Jamie Kaufman, and we are here with singer-songwriter Jessame. How are you doing today, good sir?
I'm doing well. I still waking up. I've been up since 7, but I'm waking up mentally, getting in the creative zone. So
That's perfect. So, what have you been doing this during this quarantine?
the quarantine, or the reset, as my dad considers it, has been the biggest blessing for me in many ways. But it allowed me to look at my plan for the year and what I thought was going to happen. In my head, this was happening by December of last year. I had this thing locked in. February, life's going to change. March, we get this endorsement. Later summer, I have a bunch of shows, and then God was like, nah. And I was like, all right, cool. So I really, it got me a greater perspective on just patience and trusting, whether you believe it's God or universe, whatever you believe, serendipity, just trusting that. And I think this has allowed me to really spend a lot more time with my girlfriend and a lot more time with music. Um, and really just like hone in on what I want to say in this time. There's so many emotions. Not even more fear. I don't really play into the fear aspect of it, but I think now that people are given more time to sit in their home, it really makes them question, okay, what are we going back to? And everyone gets back to the new normal and all that stuff. It's like, it really made me value what I do as a musician and the blessings that I have, and just going on walks and shooting around, inspiration sometimes, which I have to work on continually. But yeah, man, it just taught me to really just allow whatever happens to just happen and trust the power above, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's definitely a good outlook, something I definitely need to work on during this time.
Mm.
So, to those who've never heard your music before, how would you describe yourself as an artist?
I would describe myself as an innovating music lover who pays homage to all of the great bands and idols and legends before me. I'm just a makeup of all those I've listened to, you know? So like
Yeah.
Stevie and Marvin and D'Angelo and everyone I love, really. Frank Ocean, a great new one. I still love Daniel Steezer's new stuff. There's still good music out there that's still coming out. And I think I'm a makeup of just a bunch of soul and R&B and rock and all that stuff that I listened to growing up, but just I make it so where I like it. And I got the ear for it, and I think just that's all I really have known to be great at, you know. So yeah, R&B
That's
is my favorite, really, but I'm so versatile, you know.
Yeah, and that's definitely important as an artist to be versatile. You want to constantly keep people on their toes.
Right, right.
So some of your biggest inspirations would be like Frank Ocean, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, definitely D'Angelo. I like
Yeah.
Miguel's music too. Um, I just, well, from the artists I named, I love how much time they take, and not even necessarily to make an album, but just perfecting their craft. Over the years, you tell how much time went into the album and the production, the layers and the vocal stacks and the concept and the little weird sounds and the voice memos and all that, telling a story, because they are so closed off. And when the music comes out or they have a show, you get to know something about them each time. It's not so tangible, which is a balance. You know, as an artist, you have to put yourself out there and allow people to get to know you, but in a proper way is also really cool, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's very important. And it's something that, like, as a music lover myself and someone who used to do music, I totally
Yeah.
understand that, and
Wow.
I love it.
You used to do music?
Yeah, I used to sing all the time. I at one point had a 5 octave range.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to do like singing like in choir, and I did like a few like covers on YouTube. But like
Right.
after a while, like I ended up finding photography, and I was like, I want to kind of explore this for a bit. And I've been doing it for almost 4 years now,
Wow.
covering shows throughout all of Southern California, whether it be rock, metal, punk. I've done some pop here and there.
Yeah.
That's like something that I've just kind of loved doing. I liked, like, it was fun being on stage, but I really loved behind the scenes work that goes into it and just seeing how artists blossom on stage.
Yeah, right. You know, completely different. like you, I used to work on the voice and the behind the scenes, so I got to see the rehearsals and all the BS before the show and how much hard work the grip guys put in and the tech guys and all that.
Oh
So
yeah.
there's two sides that people definitely don't know and don't see. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because like as a photographer, like you get to see everything moving on stage because you're like in like the little barricade like
Hmm.
for the show, and I'm just like, wow, just the amount of production that goes into it.
Right.
It's insane, and I love the thrill of all of it. So a couple of weeks ago, you released your newest single, "Get Me Right."
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it, the whole process you went through it.
Well, Get Me Right came from, I think I told this to the last interview, and I won't have the same answer, but it literally came from just being so infatuated with my now girlfriend at the time, and just I hadn't been feeling that way in a long time. You get so used to being single and just like finding things here and there, like, okay, I'm kind of excited about this girl, but this was different, and I could tell it was going to be a lasting, great relationship. But like, she had been in the studio that day I was writing it, and I remember I was writing the hook, and she was expecting a call from her boss, and she got the call, left the room, and I was so inspired. I wrote it while she left, and then she came back. I played the hook for her, and she was like, "That's amazing!" And then she was like, "You should call it Get Me Right." And I was like, "Yes." So I went on a tour, and that went really well. But when I came back, I finished the song, and it still stuck with me. I played it all tour. The guys grew to know it, and we jammed out on it, and it was just a good song of accurate representation of how I feel, really.
Yeah, definitely. It's very important to be authentic with your writing, and I think it's a killer song.
Thank you, dude. Thank you.
Of course. So, what is your creative process, right? So, you said like you wrote the hook, and then you write everything around there, or what?
Well, mainly, good question. Usually, if I'm a producer, so the beat always has to have a certain level of finished product to it. It doesn't have to be completely done, but I like to go in and add things as I add vocals and then support certain harmonies and all that. But the beat was done in my eyes, very close to being done. And so now I usually just do about, depends on how I like it, but 2 or 3 vocal passes, just freestyling from top to end.
Yeah,
And really zoning out. I don't even really know that I'm recording sometimes. I'm just like blabbering out gibberish and then I'll listen back and write to it and be like, okay, this goes here, this goes here. So that's usually my process. Yeah, it's really 99.9% of it.
that's cool. I mean, improvising is definitely it gives you a lot of brainstorming ideas
Mm,
going forward in the song, and I've seen that through a lot of artists' writing processes, and it's really cool to see.
yeah.
So you released your first single around 4 years ago. Looking
Was
back,
it 4?
yeah, I was looking on YouTube because I do a lot of research when I do like interviews, and it was like February of 2016.
Let me see. Lights? Was it Lights?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, 2015. Lights came out. Yep.
Oh wow, so it's 5 years ago.
5 years ago. That's crazy.
So looking back, is there any advice that you would give to new artists?
Don't overthink, because we create so much, whether you're an artist, like a musical artist, or a phenomenal painter, or a phenomenal sculptor. Like, we have so much in our archive, and maybe even starting out you don't, but if you truly believe it's good and you hear the people around you telling you it's good, not because they're your friends but because they genuinely think it's good, you should take it and run with it. Because I remember being so insecure to put out my first song because I was like, nah, I can always make a better one. And then when you make that one, it's like, no, I can always get better. But your better might be someone's amazing. Like, don't touch it.
Yeah,
So I remember finally feeling that way about Lights, and I was like, I'm ready to present this to the world and like back myself. And I
yeah,
was
definitely.
confident in it. I still love that song too. Like, I'm no regrets about putting it out.
Yeah, and it's like you have a very consistent discography from what I heard. I mean, it's really good.
Thank you. That's my goal.
Yeah. So you released a song earlier this year, also with this one of the stars from 13 Reasons Why,
Yeah.
Body. What was that whole experience like?
That was That was different only because Adriana is an actress who had um, music as her hobby and something really not a lot of people knew. And so I got to see that side of her and see her express her interest in real pure joy in recording. And had a lot of questions for me, and I was just trying to show her not necessarily a right or wrong way to do things, but how a great song should be made and the process and what it's like. And we worked a lot on that. And from not knowing her at all to that 3 or 4 months we worked, I had a good time. It was a vibe, and we were able to just like laugh a lot and goof off and enjoy the Grammys together, which is cool.
Oh, that's really cool. That's how what were the Grammys like?
Grammys were inspiring, definitely. It was actually the day that Kobe died, so it was a very emotional day too. So being from LA, I
Yeah.
had an opportunity to go to the Grammys for the first time at Staples Center. I'm all hyped. I got my fitted tuxedo suit, feeling fresh, and I hear the news in the morning, and my whole day is flipped upside down, but still with excitement. And I'm like, all right, what better place to be than Kobe's second home? You know, the day he
No.
died. So it was special for me. Kobe was my hero. You know.
Yeah, I think it was a like I think because I live in Thousand Oaks, so I live like maybe
Yeah.
an hour outside of LA, and they were basically headed to a basketball game in the area.
In Thousand Oaks.
Yeah,
Wow.
so like it was just mind blowing to me, that whole thing.
Mm. And as you can see, 2020 went downhill since that day.
Yeah, it was like the catalyst.
Mm.
So it's 2020, and we need to celebrate all the colors of the rainbow. With drag culture coming into the mainstream, I basically always ask people this question. So if you were a drag queen, what would be your drag name?
What's the proper definition of a drag queen?
So a drag queen is like a male who performs on stage as a female. It's basically like female impersonation.
Okay. My drag queen name would be Tresemme.
I dig it.
Ooh la
Dig
la.
it.
You had to sing it afterwards.
I dig it. I really dig it because my drag name is Jane Doe, but Doe is spelled like Dough
Jane Doe? Jane Doe.
because it's like it's a double entendre.
Oh, Jane Doe.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because it's like I get the coin, and then out of drag, I look like Pillsbury's brother. So,
Got it. Jane Doe. I thought you said chain dough, like a chain. I was like, wait, chain dough. Oh, Jane Doe.
hey, I mean, Chain Doe could work too.
Jane Doe. Two chain.
Chain Doe. That could definitely work. I mean, because it's all about having like a really catchy name.
Really?
Yeah, that's really all drag is about, is having like a really catchy name that people can like remember. And then
Or nowadays in the music industry, you know, it's turned into a drag thing. I mean, all you gotta have is the name, little peep, little perp, little shorty, little draggy. It'll work, bro. It'll work, honestly.
exactly.
Little drag. I'm surprised that's not an artist. I want to look that up actually.
Little Dragon. I could see that. I could definitely see that. What's actually funny is like on the show recently, they've been doing like a lot of like rap and music challenges.
Yeah.
Make all the like they really want the queens to be like multifaceted, so they actually make them like do like they make them actually sing, and like they make them actually like get into the world of music, because I feel like as an artist you have to be multifaceted.
Yo, I just found an artist, Lil Drag.
Little Drag.
I found it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh heck yes.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So
I'm always open for new music. I mean, just on this desk right here, I have like countless CDs that I've bought over the last few weeks. Like,
what you buy?
well, I went to a record shop the other day, and I got some Killswitch Engage, some Demon Hunter, The Chariot, Deftones, Jesse.
Is that more so on the rock and roll heavy metal side?
So I listened to a little bit of everything. So a lot of that is on the heavy metal side.
Nice.
But a few of the artists are like more like the pop R&B style, like Jessie J, for example.
Oh yeah. I love Jessie J. Great voice.
And then I recently found one of my guilty pleasure artists, which is Carrie Underwood.
Yo, that's funny.
Like I didn't know I was gonna fall into that hole, but I found that hole and I was like, dang, this girl has some pipes on her.
She does. But the funny thing is that I don't want to say every, but a lot of I love my girlfriend now. Obviously, love her to death.
Yeah.
Don't take this the wrong way when you hear this, but all of my girls in my life that I've either like had something with or a relationship, they always have that secret Carrie Underwood love in them, and they'll belt their songs and I need a drink and a smoke. And I'm like, yeah, you guys secretly are just spirit animal Carrie lover girls.
That is so funny, actually.
It's funny you never see that side of them, but then you know they
Oh.
all have that Carrie Underwood song they go to that they just feel in this sort of empowerment. They're like, you know, I'm a drinking, I'm smoking, I'm a mom, I'm a country girl.
Yeah, I mean, because like her music is more on the pop side of country, which is interesting. Because like I'm very picky about like my country for some reason.
Yeah.
Like for some, like a lot of it I don't vibe with, but like Carrie Underwood for some reason is like that one where I'm like.
Yeah.
Speaking of guilty pleasures, do you have any guilty pleasure artists that like you have in your arsenal?
Guilty pleasure. Oh, you know what? You know, not even guilty pleasures, but like I said, I grew up listening to so many different things. So like rock and roll and very like alternative style, but then like hip hop and then R&B. So like I'll know songs that not many people think I know by like Avenged Sevenfold or what's the other one? What is it? They're very dark, screamo-ish. I can't think, but like there's many songs that I'll just sing, and my girlfriend would be like, "How do you know that?" And I'll be like, "You know, I just grew up. I'm a mixed kid. You know, I had
Yeah.
both in my ear: Panic at the Disco and Gavin DeGraw and all those things." So
I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way.
yeah, not necessarily that I listen, but I know a great song when I hear it. So I'm like, "Yo, that's a great ass song." No matter who it is, really, you know. Even David Archuleta. You know, my dad
Yeah.
used to play for David Archuleta, and sometimes I would hear some of his songs and be like, "Oh, yeah, that's a hit, bro." Elevated girls up. I'm like, okay.
So imagine COVID-19 is over and you get booked for your dream tour.
Wow.
Who would be on that tour?
Oh my God. Someone just asked me this the other day. There was a friend who would be on that dream tour. It would be me, Pharrell, um, Frank Ocean, and A Tribe Called Quest.
Dang, that's a stacked lineup.
Yeah. That'd be so tight.
So since you've done tours in the past, do you have any like funny or like embarrassing tour stories?
It's so, I know this is a weird answer, but there was honestly not like, it was only funny between me and the band because something would happen like in the hotel room that we would just be like, what? Like our photographer art, our videographer art is so out there, so messy, so just like, yeah, what's next? What's next? Always on some like some kick.
Yeah.
And he's just so funny that he kept us alive most of the tour, just like someone to laugh at, someone to joke with. Um, Craziest moment on tour was when our sound guy Mo lost his finger setting up the stage one day,
Oh,
and there was
wow.
big, you know, a stage is big, and he was doing something wrong, and the guy was pulling it up, but he wasn't ready, and off went his finger. But he was back the next day and continued on tour, and he was a trooper. And I guess this is a funny thing. His literal response when we asked him, like, "Mo, you're back?" He was like, "What am I gonna do? Sit at home and cry?" And we were like, "Wow, you're a real one, bro." Oh,
Dang, lost a finger the next day is like, what's next?
yeah, honestly. Yeah,
In our current situation, as we kind of discussed briefly before the interview, many venues are at risk of closing. Do you have any like bucket list venues that you want to perform at?
Staples Center, the Forum, Madison Square Garden, Red Rocks Amphitheater. That's really that's not it, obviously, but those are
Yeah.
like the main.
Yeah.
You can't close those, guys. I don't care what you say. Can't do it.
I know that the Forum was sold.
Sold.
Yeah, they sold the Forum for about 440 million.
What do they plan on doing with it?
Now that I'm not certain of. I know the people that bought it are building another kind of stadium style venue in that same area.
SoFi Stadium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to that viewing party. It was pretty cool.
What's it like?
Really advanced, just very. It had the blueprint and what the city was going to look like, and they're going to
Yeah.
have Chargers play there, and the Rams, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but the
Yeah.
Chargers for sure.
Yeah.
But it looked cool. So I mean, if it got bought by them, then I'm sure they're going to still have sporting events and stuff.
Yeah. So hopefully, I know that they're basically going to be tearing down the forum.
Wow, you can't do that. That's
I hope
crazy.
not. I hope not, because I was supposed to shoot Five Finger Death Punch there.
I've heard of that. Five Finger Death Punch. Rock, right? Really hard rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a mixture like hard rock and heavy metal.
Yeah.
It was them, Papa Roach, Iron
Wow.
Veil, and Ice Nine. It was going to be a dope tour. I was going to finally photograph at the forum, but that's probably
Wow.
thanks.
It's sick.
So what's next for you? Like any new music in the works?
Yeah. So much new music, first and foremost. Second, I've been able to study and listen under some of my idols and meet some of my idols who are interested in collaboration. And it's just a blessing to be able to talk to them and learn from them and just like really try and figure out the next steps as far as artistry goes and branding and what I'm going to be doing differently from other artists out there and how I can incorporate skateboarding and my love of basketball and being from LA. So just a lot of reconstructing, but not changing the core values of who I am, but just
Yeah,
more
definitely.
so making sure that my content musically, visually, aesthetically is right. So
Yeah, that's what's up. And where can people find you? Like what social media platform are you on?
I'm very active on Instagram at Jessame Berry. It's like sesame with a J, two S's. Very active on Instagram, and I'll occasionally tweet every once in a while. But I'm always on those, and I have a website. We'll be dropping a lot of new merch and songs soon. So I'm hyped for this EP to come out.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you again for this. I mean, it definitely means a lot for you to take your time out to do this interview with us. And
Yeah,
um,
thank you, man.
I can't wait to see what you do next.